back for another season of great boxing action at Michael's 8th Avenue. In Glen Burnie, Maryland, it is time for Ballroom Boxing. Hi again, everybody. I'm Larry Michael. Great to be back with my friend Jon Saraceno. And you know what? This is a very special night at Michael's. It's a sellout. They cannot wedge another person into the ballroom tonight in anticipation of this opening card of the season. I'll tell you what, Jon Saraceno, the diversity of the ballroom boxing crowd and the growth has just been phenomenal.
Larry, this is not your father's ballroom boxing series. I tell you what, you have all kinds of people at this fight. The best thing about it for the fighters is the fact that the crowd is into every fight. They like the proximity to the ring. It's really a special series.
It's a special night tonight. The main event features up-and-coming Jimmy Lange. Now, Jimmy is 16-1, climbing up the ladder, looking for a title shot down the road. He faces Vincent White tonight, a very tough, hard-nosed opponent.
Well, Vincent White's got a lot of experience, much older than Jimmy Lange, hasn't been as active, which is a minus, but another hurdle for Jimmy Lange to climb tonight.
No question about it. The third member of our crew, as always, is Jon Scheinman, and he's in the locker room right now with Jimmy Lange. John?
Your opponent tonight, Vincent White, has been out of the ring since April 2001. That's a long layoff for a fighter. Do you plan on testing him early in this bout to see if maybe he doesn't have his, sea legs under him?
Yeah, I plan on testing him early, but not because of any kind of layoff. As far as I'm concerned, he's in the best shape of his life. I don't give myself any kind of false sense of anything because I train 100% for a guy who's coming in 100%.
You're one of the most popular, you're probably the most popular fighter that fights at Michael's 8th Avenue in the Ballroom Series. I think there's a lot of expectations for you for the future. We're in a new year here, 2002. What do you look forward for yourself for the upcoming year?
The future to me is about an hour and a half from now. That's all I can look for.
So you never have these moments where you look ahead and you got to go to bed and dream at night, right?
Yeah, everybody has dreams, but like everybody else, I want to go all the way, be champion of the world. But right now, the one thing that's in my, the one immediate stumbling block is Vincent White.
Vincent White, the stumbling block tonight to bigger things ahead for Jimmy Lange. Let's go back to ringside.
Jimmy Lange, very serious. He is all business. He seems ready for Vincent White tonight.
Well, Larry, Jimmy's heard some of his critics. He's going to try to answer him tonight.
Jimmy Lange wants to drop the bomb on White tonight. The unexpected always happens here in the ballroom. We hope you are ready. The first fight in the ring when we return. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Toyota, by Budweiser, by Michael's 8th Avenue, and by BallroomBoxing.com. We are in the ballroom, a sellout crowd on hand. I mean, they cannot jam another person in here. The excitement of ballroom boxing is overwhelming. Great to be back with you, Larry Michael. With Jon Saraceno up next, Tiger Lee Hall going up against the Raging Cajun. This is a perfect ballroom matchup. For the keys to this fight in the Scene Center, let's go to Jon Scheinman. John?
Potentially be the best fight of the night, Larry. This has barn burner written all over it. Cliff Rashard, outstanding amateur record, 20-15, but he struggled as a pro 2-2, but he comes to fight every time. Tiger Lee Hall got up from 3 knockdowns in his last fight against Ricardo Edmonds to score a knockout himself. That's really lifted his confidence coming to this bout. This should be a barn burner.
Well, you know what? For the first time maybe in my life, I agree with Jon Scheinman. What do you think,
And
Jon?
so do I.
Okay. Nothing more to be said than to listen for Pat O'Malley's official introduction.
Introducing the boxers. First of all, to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks with white, weighing 146 3/4 pounds. He hails from Laurel, Maryland, with a record of 2-2. Please welcome Cliff, the Raging Cajun, Rashard. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with red, weighing 149 pounds. He is from Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. He has a record of 6-1, 4 via the KO. Please welcome Tiger Lee Hall.
Tiger Lee Hall and the Raging Cajun. Jon Saraceno, take a look at this matchup.
Well, a couple of regulars here on the Ballroom Boxing Series, particularly Cliff Rashard, 5 times. You see a slight advantage in weight and reach for Tiger Lee.
And this is the only place Cliff Rashard has ever fought, the Ballroom here. And One of his most memorable fights, John, I'm sure you will never forget, when he had his jaw snapped in his second pro fight here at the Ballroom. The Raging Cajun, though, since that fight, actually it was his pro debut, has won 2 and lost 1. So, former Marine, he's
a tough guy.
Got a tough, rough style. And this puts him in great location in the Ballroom where they love that kind of action. Round 1 underway. Ballroom boxing, as always, brought to you by Toyota. Raging Cajun, Cliff Rashard in the blue trunks with a white trim. Tiger Lee Hall out of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. 7-6 as a pro. So Tiger Lee Hall trying to get that jab out there. You might notice, Jon Saraceno, the new Ballroom boxing gloves being used in the ring for this fight.
Are we going to get a set of those?
I don't know. I don't know if Scott Wagner trusts us with gloves.
Something might break out down below the ring, huh?
I don't know. Cliff Rashard, the southpaw, the Raging Cajun. You can see it tattooed right on his back. I mean, he's got a lifelong commitment to that nickname, doesn't he?
Well, yes, he does. And
nice jab by Cliff Rashard. Raging Cajun, whose occupation other than fighting and training is tree work.
I don't know what kind of limb he's going to be on tonight, but you know, Tiger Lee, of course, fighting Rashard, former Marine. But Tiger Lee's been in tough before just in life. He spent most of his childhood in youth homes, Larry, and also did some time in North Carolina, but he's really battled back to try to make something of his life.
And he's doing that outside of the ring as well as his full-time job as counselor at a boys club down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So you got to give him credit for that last time in. He was here at the Ballroom his last fight back in November of 01, a 4th round knockout of Ricardo Edmonds, and that was a fast and furious fight. I remember it well.
Not much of a warming up process or a feeling out process here in the first round.
No, and there's a little bit of swelling around the left eye of Cliff Rashard already.
Well, Tiger's got to get closer to throw that left hook.
Before the victory over Ricardo Edmonds, Tiger Lee had lost his last 3, and a good right-hand counter by the Raging Cajun puts Tiger Lee down.
He definitely got hit with a punch, but it looked like his feet got a little tangled up also. But he got hit.
Well, he looks a little concerned on his face right now. Let's see if Cliff Rashard has hurt the Tiger.
Well, Tiger's fighting a southpaw. And of course, he needs to throw lead right hands, but he can't totally abandon the jab. He's still got to use the left hand, and there he's trying to do it.
That was a sneaky punch that put him down, John.
Very good counter punch. Right over the top. Straight left hand by Rashard. Rashard, a very compact fighter. Was pretty much a sharpshooter in there.
He's taking the lead for sure here in round 1. Raging Cajun, Cliff Rashard likes the home cooking here in the Ballroom. Round 2 coming up next when we return. Looking back, action from round 1. The Raging Cajun with the big old tattoo on his back.
Well,
puts Tiger Lee down.
Speaking of tattoos, Rashard tattooed Tiger with that counter, and there it was, the right hand flush to the face.
Sneaky short right hand. Didn't look like a big punch, but it was. First round knocked down by the Raging Cajun, Cliff Rashard. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by AM 1300 WJFK.
Well, Tiger Lee's already dug himself a bit of a hole with that 2-point round for Rashard. Of course, this is a scheduled 6-rounder. He can't afford to have many rounds like that.
No.
He's got to come back strong here. Send a message to Rashard.
Referee, the best in the business, Ken Chevalier.
Rashard has Tiger Lee a bit defensive here, covering up. I wonder what that knockdown did in the first round psychologically.
Raging Cajun looking to get above 500 for his career after the opening pro debut loss with a broken jaw. Won his next fight, lost the one after that, won the one after that, so he's 2-2. Tiger Lee Hall hoping to stay above 500. He is 7-6.
Well, Rashard There was a right hand again by Rashard. Rashard is really outworking Tiger Lee. I mean, he's outgunning him from the start. Tiger Lee waits for him to punch and then tries to come back, and he's been ineffective.
A body shot with the right hand by the Raging Cajun.
Tiger Lee can't afford to wait to counterpunch with Rashard. Lee moving to his left, which is what he should be doing most of the fight against an unorthodox fighter. But he's got to shoot the lead right hand more often. He's really been unable or unwilling to do that. And Rashard has really been walking through him and then boxing when need be.
You're right, John. Great body shot again with the right hand.
Well, Rashard has a game plan, and he puts his punches together very well. And he's giving another warning to Tiger Lee, holding behind the head and hitting. And you see Rashard immediately pounce upon Tiger Lee there. 5-punch combination.
That right hand of the body is beginning to really find a home right there on the ribs, the left side of the body of Tiger Lee Hall. There it is. Well, bringing that left hand down.
And Rashard is doubling and tripling up on the jab and then going downstairs. I think that time they had their feet a little bit crossed, which will happen when you have a righty and a lefty. But Tiger definitely got hit also. Off balance.
See how low the arms of Tiger Lee Hall are right now. Look at that. Inviting target for the right hand.
Well, he's a bit back on his heels here.
Still got power, firing back. End of the second. More to come from the ballroom when we return. Action from round two is Cliff Rashard continued to set the tempo, using that right hand to perfection to the body and head of Tiger Lee Hall. Round 3 underway. I want to welcome back Jon Scheinman for his scorecard after 2. John?
20-17 on my unofficial scorecard for Cliff Rashard. You got to give him a 10-8 for that first round with the knockdown, Larry. I'll tell you something. Tiger Lee Hall is having so much trouble with this southpaw style. He's standing right in front of Rashard, and Rashard is so educated with that deep amateur background. He's just working him over with the lead right hand. Hall really needs to start circling out of the way.
You hear Jon Scheinman mention the deep amateur background for Raging Cajun. He had 140 amateur fights. A career record in the amateurs of 120 and 20. So he won 120 fights in the amateurs. That's a lot of fights for anybody.
That is. Tiger Lee's hurt again.
Put his glove down. I believe he stumbled. I'm not so sure that was a knockdown, but he did put his glove down. And the referee does the right thing, wipes it off.
Tiger Lee had a tough 2001, lost 3 of his 4 fights. And sometimes when you take a pasting early in a fight, start having flashbacks about how things are going wrong for you. And some fighters are unable to regroup during a fight once they get hit a lot.
Mentioned Hall stumbling. It might be his legs beginning to deceive him a little bit now, because the body attack of Cliff Rashard has been nonstop since the first round. Tiger Lee Hall has had no offensive game plan, so to speak of, in this fight.
Well, he can't get past Rashard's jab. He's been unable to get past that right hand all night.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds tonight here in the ballroom.
You see Tiger Lee Hall trying to use a little more head movement. He's been very erect through most of the evening, the first couple of rounds. He makes himself a very inviting target.
See, Tiger Lee Hall beginning to move forward in this round. He took a step back, but most of this round he's been moving forward. And on that occasion, he moved forward to get hit with a combination by the Raging Cajun.
And that's what Rashard's been able to do, throw punches and bunches. Pile up the points, add the knockdown. He's got a 3-point lead on our cards unofficially through 2.
Wasn't much of a punch there, just guided him into the ropes. A little blood from the mouth now of Tiger Lee Hall. Good performance so far by the Raging Cajun, Cliff Rashard.
Hold him, fellas, you're holding. Come on out there.
Good exchange of punches, neither man really getting the better. Round 3 winding down here in the ballroom. Raging Cajun Cliff Rashard and Tiger Lee Hall. Round 4 is next. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Budweiser. In the ring.
Kenny Chevalier got a little peck on the cheek from one of the round card girls between rounds. He thought it was the last round.
He got carried away. It went right to his head. Kenny Chevalier, though, got the focus back. See Tiger Lee Hall trying to work a jab of his own, but legs are a little shaky, John, on Tiger Lee Hall right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure his legs are all there.
Oh, that was a nice overhand right by Tiger Lee. And that gave him a little confidence. See the nose of Cliff Rashard beginning to swell up somewhat.
Tiger Lee's got to gamble here a little bit.
Well, that's how you do it. You throw some big punches and hope one lands.
And also make Rashard think twice about coming straight in. I think that's what got Tiger Lee off to a bad start, was that Rashard just outgunned him early. And he went into a shell, which is what he's doing there.
Good body work there by Cliff Rashard. I think he was hurt by that right hand, though, of Tiger Lee Hall. Stunned him for a second.
Tiger Lee, a wild swinger, mostly coming up with air. Tiger Lee also having a hard time finding Rashard at times. When Rashard,
oh, big right hand right on the button. And the Raging Cajun goes down.
You have a hard time finding him that time with a straight right hand flush to the kisser.
I mean, that was picture perfect. Picture perfect right hand.
Rashard walked right into it.
See if he has recovered. Another big right hand by Tiger Lee Hall.
Well, that one was more of a glancing blow.
And Tiger Lee beginning to maul the Raging Cajun. Good combination, the left and the right. What's keeping the Raging Cajun up right now?
Well, what's keeping him up is Tiger Lee's getting too wild. He should try to go downstairs and get Rashard to cover up a little bit, then go up top. Now Tiger Lee's punched himself out a little bit.
It's what we expected. All-out war here between Rashard and Hall. Good body shot by Rashard in the left hand to the head.
Well, it appears that Rashard has his legs back under him.
How did he recover from that strong right hand right on the button?
The second right hand he hurt Rashard with wasn't strong enough to keep him, get him down and keep him down.
Big right hand by Rashard again. Sends Hall across the ring. Big Hall is hurt now. He's holding on.
What a fourth round here in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
Kind of what we expected, John. We thought this was going to be toe-to-toe for the distance. Rashard hit by a right. Tiger Lee Hall coming back. Great round here in the ballroom. 2 more to go. This fight scheduled for the six rounds tonight. The fans loving it here. We'll be back with more ballroom boxing after this. All right, action from round 4. Watch the right hand of Tiger Lee Hall on the right side of the screen. Raging Cajun on the left. Boom, man, he dropped the bomb right on his chin. How did he recover from that, Jon Saraceno?
Well, sheer guts, in a word. The guy is a Marine, and that's how he fought that round. And some of that, of course, is instinctive, reflexes. But let's see what Rashard does in this all-important 5th round, because Hall's right back in the fight now.
Tiger Lee Hall quickly right back in it. Let's go very quickly to John Scheinman for the scorecard.
Even with a 10-8 round, well, now they're taking a point away from Hall. But,
right.
but going into this round, I had Cliff Rashard ahead 38-36 unofficially on my card, despite the 10-8 round for Tiger Lee Hall.
All right, so a point deduction from Tiger Lee Hall on the hold of the head. Pulled his head in. And it's funny because Tiger Lee Hall's corner has been complaining about the body shots of Cliff Rashard, saying they were low. And Kenny Chevalier takes the point away from their man for holding behind the head.
Well, Kenny Chevalier had warned him 2 times earlier in the fight, and he is a no-nonsense referee. But you know what? In a 6-round fight, where you've got a couple of knockdowns, I don't know if you take a point from a guy there. You know what? I mean, we've seen far, far worse in Las Vegas in big fight situations. And I'm not saying the referee shouldn't be in charge.
Right.
But that's a severe penalty.
Well, I think from the very beginning of this fight, the only way Tiger Lee Hall could win is by knockout, especially after being put down early in the fight. And the hole was deep. Kind of started digging out of it with the knockdown himself in the fourth, but he's back in a deep hole. Tiger Lee Hall missing by 2 feet with that right hand. Continues to move forward. Man, they're exchanging some heavy leather.
And that fourth round might have been Hall's best chance to win the fight. I'm not saying he's not in it, he is. But having Rashard hurt as badly as he did and being ineffective at following up may have cost him the fight.
Tell you what, though, Cliff Rashard is still there. And the punches from Tiger Lee Hall continue to come with a lot of bad intentions. Misses with that right.
I think this is what Rashard has to do. He's got to box, give him angles, throw those 4 or 5 punch combinations, get out and move again.
Does that, he wins the fight. He's got such a big lead right now. But if he stands there and trades with Tiger Lee Hall, he's giving Hall that chance.
Hands free.
Well, I had Hall trailing on my card, I think as Jon did, by 2 points entering this round. And with a 1-point deduction for Hall, danger of falling farther behind.
I think he's looking for a knockout for a win. I think Hall's only chance here now is to knock the Raging Cajun out. Not much behind that punch. I think it's more of a fatigue situation for Hall.
Yeah, Hall was playing possum there, trying to catch him with a right hand coming off the ropes, and the Raging Cajun was a little too leery for that.
Closing moments of the 5th round. 3 minutes to go in this 6th rounder in the ballroom. Action from the 5th round. Raging Cajun Cliff Rashard scoring with that left hand. Maybe there was a little something behind that punch.
Well, I agree with you, Larry. He's got to have a knockout. Tiger Lee Hall to win this fight. I've got him down by, I think, by 4 points.
I do too. How do you have it, Jon Scheinman?
48-44 Cliff Rashard. I'll tell you something. I thought that point deduction against Tiger Lee Hall was totally unjustified.
Oh,
in the
man,
last
though,
round.
Jon. Tiger Lee Hall tattooing the skull of the Raging Cajun. Should be a heck of a comeback win if Tiger Lee Hall can do it. And why is Cliff Rashard standing and trying to trade at this point?
Because he's a tough guy. It's the only way he knows how to fight. And now you know why it says Tiger across Hall's trunks. Wow. Came out furiously.
Rashard just pounding away with the right hand to the body. And Tiger Lee Hall trying to wave him in here now. That could be an indication that his legs are gone.
He is fatigued. There's no question about that. He realizes if he can get Rashard in there where he can poke that right hand one more time, he could possibly win this fight in the 6th and final round. It's the only way we see him winning this fight, is stopping Rashard in the 6th. Let's see if he's got enough.
Well, Rashard's hands are down. There's plenty of time here for Tiger Lee Hall. He needs him in the center of the ring, and here they go.
Rashard should be moving. He should be on his bike, jabbing, moving, and holding when necessary. And his corner should have told him that before this round started.
Rashard stepping away. Tiger Lee Hall certainly fatigued. He came out very strong to start this final round.
You know, I've never seen a guy who's only won 1 round in a fight be so into the fight. I mean, he's
and
live
a point
every
deduction
minute.
too.
Yeah.
Hey, don't put your gloves on me. Let's go.
Kenny Chevalier setting Tiger Lee straight.
Kenny, no nonsense. And now I think you're seeing Tiger Lee Hall trying to find the target on unsteady legs, weary arms. Difficult assignment at this point, but who knows?
Still there. Good uppercut by Tiger Lee Hall inside.
Yeah, Rashard has taken some bombs. Rashard still wants to go at it, toe to toe. Don't understand this, but that's the way he's fighting him.
I think you said it right, Jon. He's a tough guy, and he only knows it one way. Ripping body shot. Just a beautiful body shot.
Wow, Tiger Lee almost hit him with a right hand on that exchange. Cliff Rashard playing with a keg of dynamite here.
Tiger Lee Hall backing away, though. I think Rashard has a little more left in the tank right now.
This has been an excellent action fight here at the Ballroom in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Can't ask for more from either fighter.
It's going to go the distance. The 6-round distance has been completed. And it will be in the hands of the judges. Crowd loving the action. Packed house tonight in the ballroom. Cliff Rashard and Tiger Lee Hall go the 6-round distance. The decision is next. Don't go away. Action from the 4th round of this 6-rounder that went the distance. Tiger Lee Hall and the Raging Cajun Cliff Rashard. Both men tasted the canvas in this one. They went the 6-round distance. I think both men laid it all on the line, Jon Saraceno. Great fight.
Well, Tiger Lee really, a guy with 6-6 record basically, could have just really quit in the fight if he wanted to. There were places where he could have had his out. But that's the reason why he fights here, and that's the reason why he's still an active fighter, because he did come to fight. He gave it his all. And you really can't ask for a lot more.
It would appear, though, that the Raging Cajun Cliff Rashard did enough to win. We're going to find out now from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards. Judge Holmes scores it 57-54. Judge Risher scores it 59-53. And Judge Malik Waleed scores it 58-54. And the winner, by unanimous decision, Cliff, the Raging Cajun Rashard.
Here in the ballroom in an action fight, the Raging Cajun Cliff Rashard comes away with the unanimous decision victory. What do you think about that?
Well, I thought it was an impressive performance by both fighters, really.
Raging Cajun went down, and you know what, Jon Saraceno, when he was put down by that right hand by Tiger Lee Hall, both you and I wondered if he was going to get up.
Yeah, he was really badly hurt, and that's instinct by a fighter, and also the guts of a Marine.
Well, the Marine wins it, and he's standing by with John Scheinman.
Cliff, you're sailing along behind the right jab for 3 rounds there, looking as comfortable as you've ever looked in the ballroom. Boom, Tiger Lee Hall hits you with the right hand, changes the whole complexion of the fight.
Yes, it did, yeah. It was first time in my whole career ever being down in amateurs or the pros or sparring or anything, so it was kind of a fast one, you know.
It seemed to take you out of your game plan. Did you have, I mean, now hearing for the first time that it was your first time down, did you have trouble recovering your composure?
You know, I've always been told when you get knocked down, not to jump up. You stay down, take the count to about 8, and get up slowly, and that's what I did. And I wasn't hurt, I was more surprised, like, oh, what's going to happen? You know, he's going to come rushing on me or what? But I was able to hold him off for the rest of the round.
Well, and you sure took your composure came back together definitely in the last round. The point deduction didn't hurt you against him. So Cliff Rashard, he survives his first knockdown, and he gets a win, and he goes up to 3-2 in his career now. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and John.
Thank you much, John Scheinman. Very exciting fight. We enjoyed it. We hope you did as well. More Ballroom Boxing coming up after a timeout. We are in the ballroom. This is Larry Michael. Love ballroom boxing. And one of the reasons I love ballroom boxing is because of the people we get a chance to see here in the ballroom who just come to see the action. And one of those tonight is one of the greatest. I don't know how to describe this guy other than he's a friend of mine, Burt Sugar. Good to see you, Burt.
It's nice to be here. Nice to be anywhere at my age.
I understand. And before we allow you to do your stand-up routine, this is your first trip to the ballroom, and I got to tell you, Bert, you and I have done all the big fights all over the world, but this is the grassroots of boxing. This is a situation here which just turns me on. How do you feel about it?
I love the competitiveness. These are basically even fights that give everyone action. And what does a boxing fan want? Action. This is it.
And, you know, you look at some of these fighters, and, you know, some of the great fighters do begin with this type of scenario.
They have to. By definition, they all started here. And I think that's the pearl in the oyster everybody is looking for. Maybe that's the next. But that is a bonus. What you're looking for is action. And I have never seen, this is club fighting at its best.
You've been all over the world. Obviously, you've seen all the big fights in Vegas, Atlantic City. Have you seen a venue of this size with this much electricity? And the boxing fans here seem to just love the action.
Well, not only that, yes. To answer to every question, yes. It's also got class, and I'm not sure.
How do we fit in there?
I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah, right.
But you know, you're at a ballroom. It's lovely. It's a packed house. There isn't a place to be had, a ticket to be had. This is wonderful, and it's boxing at its basic, and this is fun.
Bert, when did you start wearing the fedora?
Probably in the 60s. I have to tell you, there is a story, and I'll condense it very quickly because I'm bored with me. But in the old days, the writers who were on the old papers, the World, the Telegram, whatever, they would send their stories upstairs on pneumatic tubes to the people who were doing hot type, not the cold type today, which is computers. This was the old linotypes which would shoot the filaments out. Filaments came through the floor. Before they sent the story out, everybody would be hit by a shower of filaments. All the writers had hats on their head to protect them from the filaments. When I wanted to become a writer, I decided I'm going to look like a writer. And this is fun. And it's always been me. And God bless, I'm going to do it forever, no matter what you and GQ say.
Well, I won't ask you about the pants then, because I'm sure that's
wait a minute.
That is just that's just your personal preference.
It looks like the Goodwill box threw up on me.
There is no logical reason for you to be wearing pants like that.
Well, I was going to wear the suit, but I lost the jacket.
Right.
But I love to come to fights. I dress for them. And you know what? I have a good time, and particularly tonight. This is fun.
Well, Bert, I want to tell you, I've seen you around here in the ballroom. You've been saluted by fan after fan after fan. Well, they love you here.
I'm running for prom king.
and you know what? Burt Sugar might just win that prom king. Thanks so much, bud.
Larry,
I love you. You know that.
As always.
You are the best. Burt Sugar will be back with more Ballroom Boxing after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. It's time for Will Little to take on the Ding-a-Ling Man. And Jon Scheinman has this scene setter. Jon.
I'll tell you something, Larry. In just 5 fights, Darnell Wilson has shown that he's one of the hardest hitting fighters in the entire region. And he goes up tonight against Will Little, who has been sparring for this fight with none other than Bernard Hopkins, Charles Brewer, and the brothers Aaron and Eric Mitchell. That is good company to keep. This could be a barn burner.
Jon Saraceno, what do you think of the Ding-a-Ling Man?
It rings bells, man. That's all I got to say.
Let's get this one started with Pat O'Malley. Patrick, take it away.
This will be a 6-round bout in the light heavyweight division. Your referee in charge is Bill Holmes. Judging the bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Don Rashard. Introducing the boxers, first to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with purple, weighing 177¼ pounds, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with a record of 2-1-1. Please welcome the infamous Will Little. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with gold, weighing 176¾ pounds. He hails from Silver Spring, Maryland, with a record of 3-1-1. 3 via the KO. Please welcome Darnell Ding Dong, the Ding-a-Ling Man, Wilson.
Certainly a crowd favorite here in the ballroom, the Ding-a-Ling Man, Jon Ding-a-Ling Saraceno with the matchup.
Well, you see the height disparity. Little, much taller fighter. Darnell Wilson has really come in tip-top shape for this fight, Larry. 5 pounds less than he did in his last fight.
Maybe an indication, Jon, that he means business. Wilson kind of gaining momentum over the last few months. Last time out in the ballroom, an impressive 2nd-round knockout of William Bailey. Save for a disputed loss in New York. Back in June of last year, Darnell Wilson would be an unbeaten prospect. And Wilson's biggest forte is a punching power, no doubt about it. Kind of an awkward fighter in there, but when he unleashes, he can be devastating. Going right to Will Little. Will Little certainly with a height and reach advantage, but let's see if he can use it to his advantage. Remember the Ding-a-Ling Man in his last fight was slow start, and he just unleashed combination that devastated the opponent, William Bailey.
One question mark about Darnell Wilson has been his chin. A little suspect at times.
The infamous Will Little, that's his nickname. The infamous Will Little. He's been against some toughies in sparring. Bernard Hopkins, the undisputed champion. Charles Brewer, another contender. But the Dingling man trying to ring the bell right now in the head of Will Little. With a little red on him, scores with a right hand. Darnell Wilson, more than just a fighter, full-time job for Darnell Wilson as a systems engineer. Not many boxers can make that claim. Darnell Wilson, though, is a little awkward. Needs to work on his trade.
Well, he's punching from very wide angles, looping his punches. And let's see if Little can make him pay here for some of those mistakes. A little bit sloppy here in the first round.
Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Budweiser. Larry Michael and Jon Saraceno, great to be with you tonight for the first edition in 2002 of Ballroom Boxing.
Little trying to fight a very poised fight behind the left hand. Trying to pick Wilson apart as he comes in. Wilson a little more cautious now. Got hit with a couple of right hands. That was a glancing blow off Wilson's gloves, no damage. Counter right hand by Little. Looks like Little wants to counter punch.
See both men looking into each other's eyes. I think they're trying to figure each other out.
Well, certainly Little has the reach advantage and should be using that left hand a little bit more busy with it. He's loading up with the right, Larry.
Both men loading up with the right hand. Wilson throwing those wide punches. Little holding on nicely. Competitive battle here in the ballroom. More to come. Action from the first round here in the ballroom. Darnell Wilson in the black trunks with the gold trim, and Will the infamous Little.
Both fighters loading up in that first round.
Good give and take in round one. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. John Scheinman had to score the first.
Well, I gave the first round to Darnell Wilson 10-9, but I'll tell you something, he does every single thing wrong but hit hard. His right foot comes up in the air when he throws his right hand. He keeps his hand down on defense. He throws looping shots. He's just asking for trouble, and so far his power's carried him through. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to him tonight with Will Little.
That's very good comments. I tell you what, you could see Will Little picking apart Wilson if he fights the right kind of a fight. But he's going to have to get busier with the left hand. He's waiting too much, and he looks like he thinks he can end the fight with one punch. He missed with the right hand there, but at least he set him up.
Neither man really establishing any kind of tempo to this fight. Kind of a herky-jerky start to this one.
I think Wilson should stick that right hand in his back pocket right now and just concentrate on the jab. He's following Wilson, but he's not cutting the ring off, is Little.
Crowd getting a little impatient with the Dingling man for not letting fly.
And really, Wilson can't win the fight from the outside there. But he figures if I'm not going to be pressed, I'm going to stay out here for a while, and then I'm going to move in when I see I can throw the right hand. Well, there was the left hook in the right.
So neither man really expending much energy here in round 2.
Of course, Little's never been beyond 4, and neither has Wilson, and this is a scheduled 6-rounder.
Good left hand there by Will Little. And a good right hand lead. Dingling man just content to sit there and kind of pose and look for an opening.
Little should be eating him up with that jab. He's starting to get a little more consistent with it. And I don't know what Wilson is waiting for unless he's just merely loading up. There was the left hook. He missed him with the right hand, but he got him with the left.
Little is hurt. Can't teach power. Down he goes. It was only a matter of time until the Dingling man rang the bell.
It's going to be over.
And I don't think Will Little can get up. His legs will not hold him. This fight is over. And in quick and impressive fashion, Darnell, the Dingling man Wilson, wins his 4th, 3rd in a row.
Well, Wilson knew something we didn't, and that was he was just going to be patient and wait to throw those power hands. And he missed with a couple of those shots, but he caught him along the ropes, which was the wrong place for Little to be.
As much as you think that Wilson needs to work on his game, he does, but the punch is something that's there.
You can't teach power.
Nope.
And Wilson really has it, but he's got to do a lot more. That right hand was short. And that right hand looked like it missed. I wasn't even sure what really landed in those punches.
Might have been a forearm that landed. There's a shot right there, the last combination.
That put him down, but he already looked hurt. I couldn't quite pick out the one punch that really looked like it dazed.
I'm telling you, I think it was a forearm that he ducked the punch and got hit with the forearm.
Yep, that'll do it to you. We mentioned before that Dingling reminds us a little bit of Tyson, and Tyson used to use that forearm shiver very effectively.
See the best shape of his pro career. Darnell Wilson, the Dingling man, the crowd favorite here in the ballroom, one of the crowd favorites in the ballroom. Taking a look from a different angle.
Let's see if we can pick out the punch here.
Misses the right, misses the right, hits him with the forearm.
You know what? If that wasn't it, I don't know what was, because I never saw another punch land until right at the end there when he was already going down and hurt.
In any event, the Dingling man wins it. And yeah, sometimes you don't see the punch that lands. And
that's the one that hurts you, right?
Obviously, Will Little didn't see it as well, did he?
Yeah, that's
so what
the
do you think of the
you.
Dingling man, John? I mean, he's got the colorful nickname. He's certainly strong, powerfully built, but he has to work. I believe he has to work on his jab and finding a way to unleash that right hand.
Well, he's very raw. I mean, you see the power there, and you can't teach power. But he's got to settle down in the ring and put his punches together and formulate some kind of a systematic attack. You're not going to be able to wing punches like that and get everybody out of there like he did tonight.
Let's get the time of the knockout from Pat O'Malley. Pat?
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by KO at 2:35 of round 2, Darnell Ding Dong, the Dingling Man, Wilson.
So Darnell Wilson victorious here, knocking out Will Little in the second round. I mean, you like the nickname, don't you? The Dingling Man?
You gotta love it for a fighter. It's gonna ring a few bells. He's done it so far, and he's really shown that he has that natural power. He is a puncher, first and foremost, but he's gonna have to learn to also be a boxer too.
Dingling Man wins it here in the ballroom. More ballroom boxing coming up. Don't go away. So the Dingling man, Darnell Wilson, is victorious for the 4th time as a professional. He's standing by with Jon Scheinman. John?
Darnell, you looked a little uncomfortable in the ring there. Obviously, your power got you through in an exceptional way at the end, but you seem to be pawing with your jab, throwing wide shots. What was going on with you in the ring tonight?
To be honest with you, there's been a lot of really good new things we've been working on in the gym, and I guess it just has to do with trying to execute some of the new stuff, and then my own natural, style that I'm used to doing is like conflicting. So it made me a little bit gun shy, but nevertheless, the Dingling punch strikes again.
We were talking about it, watching the replay after the fight, wondering what was the first shot that hurt him, because we didn't really see it, and then we saw the final combo, which knocked him through the ropes. What was the first shot you hit him with?
It was like a glancing right hand. I never really caught him quite clean. But, I got a damn good right hand. That's the Dingling punch, if you didn't know. It just grazed him like the side of his head. Then he got a little wobble, and once I see he got hurt, I'm right on him.
Ding Dong, the Dingling man. Darnell Wilson showing tremendous power here in the ballroom. Let's go back to ringside.
John, did you know that the right hand was the Dingling punch? Did you know that?
You know what? Whatever he tells me, I believe. And actually, I did know that.
Thank you very much. More ballroom boxing to come. Don't go away. Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Time for one of our featured bouts. Emil Baku returns to the ballroom after a long absence. He takes on Shakir Ashanti. To set the scene, here's Jon Scheinman. John?
Larry, Emil Baku has been off for a long time, and they were looking around for an opponent to get him back into shape here. They found Shakir Ashanti, and he took the fight immediately. and I think they maybe didn't expect what they were getting a really tough guy here. He's fought for a WBO Intercontinental belt. He broke the champion's nose in that fight before getting stopped himself, and I think Shakir Ashanti might be a sleeper here. Look forward to a very competitive bout.
All right, Jon Scheinman. Jon Saraceno, you have seen Emil Baku before. 20-1, quite a record.
Well, we've seen him often. His brother used to fight here too before he retired. But he has that European style that Ashanti thinks he can take advantage of, and I would be worried about fighting a guy who didn't ask what his purse was when he wanted to fight me. So he's very confident, Ashanti.
Should be a good one. Ashanti and Baku. Let's get it started with Pat O'Malley.
Now it's time for more ballroom boxing. This an 8-round bout in the junior middleweight division. Your referee in charge is Malik Waleed. Judging the bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Bill Holmes. Now introducing the Warriors. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the cream cloth trunks, weighing 155¼ pounds. He is from Greensboro, North Carolina. He has a record of 14-4, 4 via the KO. Please welcome Shakir Ashanti. To my left, out of the red corner, weighing 155 pounds. He hails from Owings Mills, Maryland, with a record 20-1, 15 via the KO. Please welcome Emil Baku.
Baku and Ashanti in the ballroom. Jon Saraceno, a look at the matchup.
Well, Baku, you see the height advantage that he possesses going into this fight. And that could be a key, particularly with the reach.
I think the award for the most outlandish outfit in ballroom boxing history might have to go to Shakir Ashanti. Take a look at what this man is wearing. Got the tassels around the feet. I don't even know if those are trunks, John. It's kind of an extended loincloth.
Looks like something he stole out of Hector Camacho's wardrobe.
Baku in the white trunks, rather long. Ashanti in the flamboyant outfit. Round 1 is underway.
I hope the judges aren't distracted by those tassels.
Emil Baku packs a punch, 15 knockouts out of 20 wins. And this fight is underway here in the ballroom. Ballroom boxing, as always, brought to you by Toyota and by Budweiser.
I'll buy you one after the fight.
After the fights, brother.
Well, Baku, of course, has been a regular in the Ballroom Boxing Series for a while, but he has been fairly inactive. His last fight was last August against Ron Weaver.
And that was his first fight in 12 months. Didn't fight since September of 2000.
I think he was having some management problems and decided to wait it out a little bit. And then I believe he had a fight scheduled in September. And with the 9-1-1 scenario, that fight went away.
Emil Baku trying to get in that mainstream contention position at 154 pounds. 29 years old, from Azerbaijan.
For a fighter trained in European style, he's actually less mechanical.
Oh, the big right hand drops on the chin of Ashanti. And he is rocked.
Wow, we were buried in tassels there for a minute. It was right above us.
Okay, let's go.
Plenty of time. Baku looking to close it out. Clubbing left hand and a right. Ashanti is shaky right now, no doubt about that.
Ashanti smart enough to try to hold on there a little bit.
Down again, he took a knee.
Yes, he did. Well, he got a break there because he was actually down on the floor with a knee quickly. He's got a hold. Ashanti's got a hold here.
He's going to walk into another right hand.
Well, apparently he feels his head is cleared.
Off the back of the neck. Let's go.
And I tell you what, it looks like Baku is red along the left cheekbone. Is there some swelling or some blood? Just got a quick look at it.
Ashanti slapping punches.
Watch your hands. Watch your hands. Keep on.
Baku does have some redness along that left cheekbone. And now Ashanti complaining And he got hit low. This has turned into a brawl here in the first round. He's cut.
He is. Baku is cut on the cheek. He's cut on the left cheek.
And he probably knows it, fighting with more sense of urgency here in the first round. A wild first round here in Glen Burnie.
Tell you what, I'm not so sure how that cut happened. Cuts on the cheek don't usually happen with a punch.
No, they were.
Taking a look at the right hand that Emil Baku delivered to put Ashanti down. Here it is. Ashanti backing away. Look at how low his left hand is. Inviting target for that right hand.
He was set up for that shot. Right on the button, caught him.
All right, fellas, let's keep it clean.
So Baku is bleeding. Ashanti has been down, and round 2 is underway.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that Ashanti was really able to get up from that shot, Larry. That would have stopped a lot of fighters.
Tell you what, Baku's got a punch. And apparently, Ashanti has a bit of a chin. See, Malik Waleed, the referee, had to pick up some of the stray tassels that have fallen from the feet of Shakir Ashanti.
I mean, I'm all for showmanship and wild outfits and flamboyancy in boxing. I don't mind some of it, but I don't know. That's a little bit borderline. Those things come off. Guys could be sliding on them. I just don't see a need for that.
A little much. Baku wearing the Penn State outfit. Right?
Yeah. Oh, good right hand by Ashanti. Caught Baku on the side of the face where his cut is. Baku was able to ride that punch a little bit.
The thing about Baku here is now he put Ashanti down. He can't live on that one punch the rest of the fight.
No, he's got to keep trying to dog him, use the left hand and try to set up the right hand, and that's what he's trying to do, Larry.
Well, that blood beginning to flow now from the cheek of Emil Baku.
Who's got to get those hands up after he punches. Has a tendency to drop them down when he brings them back. And Ashanti was able to counterpunch. Well, Ashanti showing him a lot of angles.
Ashanti moving side to side.
Baku, a tall, rangy boxer puncher. You do not want to stand in front of him.
Ashanti showing a lot of energy, John. Good movement. I think he's beginning to cause Baku a few problems right now.
I agree, and it's interesting coming off that vicious knockdown in the first round. He's been able to get back into the fight.
Baku beginning to follow him around a little bit right now, not punching as he pursues. Ashanti won his last fight, which was back in June of last year. Hasn't fought in about 7 months. A victory over Sylvester Clark. Prior to that, he was knocked out twice by Jeff Hill and Anthony Farnell in Nevada and England. So he's been around. In fact, Shakir Ashanti had a chance at the WBO international title in England, and he lost by TKO to Farnell.
So there is some question about his chin. No question, being stopped in 2 of his last 3 fights. Can he weather a hard puncher? Baku had him down in this first round here. We're now in the second.
Ashanti is a senior at North Carolina A&T University, studying computer engineering.
You know, more and more fighters these days are still in school, which I think is a great thing, obviously, for simple reasons.
End of 2. Did it go to Baku? We're going to find out from John Scheinman when we return. More Ballroom Boxing coming up. Welcome back to the Ballroom action from round 2. Ashanti, that big overhand right on the cut cheek of Emil Baku. John Scheinman, how do you have it scored through 2?
My unofficial scorecard, I got Emil Baku up 19-18. I gave Shakir Ashanti the last round. You know, I talked to him yesterday at the weigh-in, and he said he has spent the last 7 months with his trainer, Richard Rivers, completely breaking down and rebuilding his style. He'd had a lot of trouble with concentration in the two of the 3 prior fights, and they just really wanted to work on that. And we're going to find out what the results are tonight, because he's trying to come back from that hard knockdown.
You know, some fighters are second-generation fighters. They were born into the game. Not Shakir Ashanti. His father is a nuclear physicist.
I think he grew up in Los Alamos, didn't he, New Mexico? He did.
Los Alamos High School, Jon Saraceno doing his homework. Also a former Marine, served in Desert Shield and Desert Storm.
And that's why you see the heart of Ashanti, the way he fights back. And he's got himself back into this fight, no question. Baku's in live tonight.
There's that right hand again.
Oh, he stopped Ashanti dead in his tracks for a moment. But Baku can't afford to just load up, Larry.
Ashanti just firing back, John.
This is an interesting fight here. You have the power of Baku. You have Ashanti, obviously has boxing skills. He's got to get his gloves up higher. He's getting caught with too many shots.
Baku has him in trouble. The referee, Malik Walid, taking a long look. I think Ashanti's okay, though.
A lot of times Ashanti wants to brawl, and that's been his downfall when he stood there and traded with Baku. He's got to continue to give him some lateral movement, and remember to move that head. It's too upright. Baku continually applying pressure behind that good left hand. See him score with it right there. That's it's enabled him to set up the right hand, and he's really taken advantage of it, clipping Ashanti several times, rocking him, knocking him down in the first round.
Okay, let's go.
It's a good fight.
Very competitive. Good right hand by Baku, again started with the jab.
Ashanti is hurt, trying to fight back.
This fight looks like it's a matter of time for Ashanti if it continues to go like this in his third round. He had a much better second round.
John, if he protected himself against the right hand of Baku, he'd be in good shape. The right hand doing a lot of damage now. A lot of blood from the nose of Shakir Asante.
Ashanti's dropping that left, and now he's backing up to the ropes. Not sure why.
He was hurt, but the end of the round comes. So Ashanti will fight another round. Baku and Ashanti, round 4 coming up next in the Ballroom. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing at the end of round 3. A low blow delivered there, right on the belt line. Really not a low blow, but like Malik Walid said to the fighter, Ashanti, after that happened, we say protect yourself at all times. You got to do it. So with 3 rounds in the books, let's check in with John Scheinman in the scorecard. John.
Well, unofficially, 29-27, Emil Baku. I thought he got back on track in the third round. You know, he's a very methodical fighter, but he works well off the left jab, and there's tremendous power in that shot. It's just not a shot to set up a right hand. It's a hurting punch, and that really helps him out, getting past his, his lack of sheer athleticism. He looks very good so far, Larry.
Thank you, John. That right hand by Ashanti, Jon Saraceno, coming out of left field. I mean, he is telegraphing that from 6 feet away.
And Baku is too clever a fighter really to get hit with many of those shots, if any. Some people may wonder, is Baku a world-class fighter? I think he is. With proper management, this guy could fight for a world title one day. But now he got sloppy there. Threw a left hook from too far outside, and then, of course, left himself open, but he got away with it.
John, I wonder if the tassels bog him down at all around the feet. I mean, that's a lot of tassels. It's not like Ali used to have. This guy's got a lot of tassels around his feet. What do you think, John?
I think his tassels need a haircut, a tassel cut. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think it bothers him, but I think it's a bit much. But right now, that's not what's bothering him. The left hand of Baku is what's really distracting Ashanti. He's been unable to deal with that jab, and that's really been the story of the fight. And of course, Baku follows it up with those good right hands. He just did it right there, 1-2.
Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Geico Auto Insurance. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more in your car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. In the ring right now, Emil Baku, 20-1 in the white trunks. Matching up against Shakir Ashanti, who is 14-4. Ashanti just 4 knockouts to his credit, and he's getting himself in a hole here in the early going.
You could see that Baku, very educated fighter in the ring, the way he carries himself, the way he handles himself offensively and defensively. He's had some defensive slip-ups here because I think he, at times with Ashanti, he's fallen asleep. He's had his way on the offensive end so often. There again, the long right hand. Baku's going to try and finish him.
Ashanti goes down in a heap.
Just about crushed the ringside photographer.
I don't know if he's going to be okay, John. He's wobbling around the ring, and the power of Emil Baku puts an end to this fight. Baku runs his record to 21-1, and that is his 16th win by knockout.
Excellent stoppage by the referee, Malik Waleed, because I tell you what, Baku was going to come in and really finish the job, and he's a long, rangy, dangerous puncher, and it would have been ugly. Ashanti spared further damage.
Emil Baku victorious. Taking a look at how this fight ended, it was the right hand.
And he hit him repeatedly tonight with those right hands. It all started with the good left jab. Too much power for Ashanti to deal with, and not enough on his punch really to keep Baku off.
The left hand that put him down, John, in a heap right in front of us here at ringside. You can hear a big-time thud as he went down.
He collapsed right in front of us. And anytime a fighter is put down like that,
I would guess that is the flag of Azerbaijan.
I'll give you $50 if you can spell it, because I can't.
Emil Baku victorious. Good strong right hand. Got a lot of power. And John, how far can Emil Baku go? He is 21-1. Hasn't really had an opportunity for a title shot. Never fought for a title in his career. He's been active since 1995. Here's how it ended.
Well, he's got to stay busy, and he has to slowly upgrade his level of opposition also. But he certainly has the ability and the poise to make a run in his division at some point. It's got to be managed right, though. And there's not a lot of good managers in boxing today.
Ashanti never recovered. Baku the winner. Let's hear it from Pat.
Attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by KO at 250 of round 4, Emil Baku.
Baku the winner in impressive fashion. We'll have more ballroom boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland in just a moment.
Emil, I noticed in the first round that you shook your hands out a little, like as if you were trying to shake some of that rust off, and then you dropped him with the big right hand. Tell me about it.
Yes. First, I started. I was trying to find the keys to the guy, so I started simply with a jab. You know, trying to put his attention to sleep. You know. So I was working to the head, to the body, and he was dropping his left hand. You know, I noticed. Then I came up with a right hand, and he didn't expect that, and I dropped him.
Now he got up, and he seemed pretty well refreshed. Did you try it? Were you thinking, well, maybe I should just knock this guy out, or what were you thinking then?
Yes, I started too fast. You know, that's how I gotta work on that, because I'm always starting like that after I put the guy in knockdown. You know, I'm starting to finish him up, and sometimes I'm doing wrong stuff. You know, and that's how I did in this fight. You know, I started too fast. I rushed in, but I couldn't put him out.
Well, you definitely got him at the end with the big left hook. We'll look for big things from Emil Baku in 2002. Let's go back to ringside with Larry and John.
Thanks, John Scheinman. Stay tuned for more ballroom boxing. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. It is time for our main event. Hi again, everybody. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. It's time to see Jimmy Lange, 16-1, taking on Vincent White, his stiffest test to date. Before the fight, let's set the scene with Jon Scheinman. Jon?
Larry, I think the key to this fight is who's able to set the tempo, who's able to set the pace. Both fighters are going to be looking to work behind their jabs. Whoever initiates the action, I think, is going to have the upper hand. However, in the end, Jimmy Lange's punching power may just pull him through no matter what.
All right, thank you, Jon. You know, Jon Saraceno, your comments after Jimmy Lange's last fight kind of hit a nerve. Is this quality of opponent tonight a little different in your mind?
I don't think so. I think you've got a guy who started out quickly in his career, won his first 12 fights, but really has become a fighter that's become inactive. And from a power standpoint, even though he has the experience, he really doesn't have a lot to keep Jimmy Lange off of. But he will test Jimmy Lange in the boxing category, and that is you can't hit what you can't see, and I think that's going to be his game plan.
Should be some fireworks in the ring next. Let's get it started with Pat O'Malley.
And now, Ballroom Boxing presents his junior middleweight bout, an 8-rounder. Your referee in charge is Gary Campaneschi. The judges at ringside, Bill Holmes, Don Rashard, and Malik Waleed. Introducing the Warriors. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks and green, weighing 150.5 pounds. He hails from Central Heights, Maryland, with a record of 13-3-1, 3 via the KO. Please welcome to Ballroom Boxing, Vincent To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing 150.75 pounds. He is from Great Falls, Virginia, with a record 16-1-1, 14 via the KO. Please welcome Jimmy Lange.
Jimmy Lange with one of those custom robes that he wears, different robe for every fight. This one with a biblical reference on the back, and we are ready for the matchup, Jon.
Well, you see, Jimmy Lange certainly is the taller fighter, should have a little bit of a reach advantage, depending on if you want to use linear or fight reach. But the key number, I think, is the age. Vincent White at 31 really kind of leveled off as a fighter, heading back down the other way. Jimmy Lange on the way up at 26.
Big moment for Jimmy Lange, 16-1. Needs to continue winning to continue moving up the rankings. A lot of pressure on him here tonight. We'll see if he responds. Adrian Davis in the corner of Vincent White. He's already sporting a little mark under his right eye, Jon, before the fight even begins. So we'll see if Jimmy Lange can take the measure of Vincent White. White 13-3. Lost his last fight to Marlon Haynes. Last time he was knocked out was by Chantel Stansfield, an up-and-comer in 1999. So we are underway. The main event in the ballroom tonight featuring Jimmy Lange. Certainly the crowd favorite in the ballroom. First 1,000 fans who showed up got Jimmy Lange towels.
I didn't get mine.
Well, you were lingering. I got my Jimmy Lange towel.
Well, Jimmy Lange, the boxer puncher, very good power. Sometimes falls in love with it, I think, a little bit too much. I like to see him doubling, tripling up with that jab the way he's starting out tonight.
Talked to Jimmy in the locker room earlier, and he said the jab is the key in this fight.
And same thing for Vincent White. He's going to try to out-jab Jimmy Lange. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. You see him staying on the outside. This is going to be a boxing match. I don't know how much of a slugfest this is going to be, particularly early, unless Lange is able to catch White. He threw a shot there on the right with the right hand, was a little bit short.
Jimmy Lange from Great Falls, Virginia.
Not too many prize fighters out of Great Falls, Virginia. For those of you not familiar with Great Falls, Larry will tell you about it.
Well, it's a rather affluent area in Northern Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. Jimmy Lange trains full-time. His goal is to win a world championship.
Let's go punch
and at 16-1, he's got a pretty good start in his pro career.
Adrian Davis trains Vincent White. Adrian most recently training former world heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman before their split. Adrian's been around a long time. Of course, had a career in the ring. And he's got White trying to outbox Jimmy Lange and maybe get him into the latter rounds. Jimmy Lange, I don't think has ever been beyond, what, 6, Larry?
Jimmy Lange's gone 6 a couple times.
I think White has been 10 a couple of times, I think.
Yep, he has. And 8 once as well. 14 of Jimmy Lange's 16 wins have come by route of knockout.
And 8 of those in the first round. And when that happens to a young fighter, you start building up in your mind, I'm a knockout puncher. You know, it's going to come easy. So Jimmy's had to continue to work hard in the gym to overcome those tendencies of any young fighter.
Jimmy Lange's lone loss came in his 3rd professional fight. He went on the road to New York and lost a tough 4-round decision to Kevin Collins. And since that time, Jimmy Lange's management has tried to get Kevin Collins in the ring, but he wants no part of Jimmy Lange. So whether he'll ever avenge that loss remains to be seen, but he has his eyes set on Vincent White tonight, our main event, concluding round 1. Jimmy Lange and Vincent White. Round 2 is next. Welcome back to the Ballroom. Ballroom Boxing, as always, brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Round 2 underway. Jimmy Lange in the black trunks. Vincent White in the green and yellow trunks. John Scheinman, rather uneventful round 1. Who'd you give it to?
Well, it was uneventful, but it went to Jimmy Lange on my unofficial card. He just seemed to be working a little bit harder, but I'll tell you something. I think the round also played into Vincent White's hands pretty well because it was a manageable pace for him. Jimmy Lange's a very explosive fighter, and he did not explode in that round. That can't do anything but be good for Vincent.
Jon Saraceno, do you concur?
Completely. 10-9 Lange. I thought he dictated the pace of the round. And John is exactly right. Jimmy Lange, a very dangerous puncher. And he was on his P's and Q's there a little bit. He wasn't playing White cheap at all.
They're trying to work behind a combination. See, Jimmy Lange keeps his hands in tight. A good defensive posture. And he's working the jab.
Well, that's the key in this fight. There's no doubt about it. If Jimmy keeps using that left hand and then with that long right hand, he's going to be in control of this fight because I don't think White has enough of a punch to keep Jimmy Lange at bay. You know, White's got to feint, give Jimmy angles, and try to extend this fight. The only problem with that scenario is that presumes that maybe the fight would go the distance, and I don't know that White could win a decision, frankly. Very tough to do. He would have to then catch Jimmy Lange somehow in the later rounds and try to stop him. I see that as really his best chance.
That's why the fight is 8 rounds tonight here in the Ballroom. Talking to Jimmy Lange's management, basically maybe a cliche, but they will take it one step at a time, one fight at a time. They can get to about 20-1. You will see Jimmy Lange in the top 10 of one of the major organizations. Fights an exciting style, has a lot of power. Certainly is charismatic.
And he's big for his weight class, which helps.
Tall. The size difference there, John. Lange does look a lot bigger, and he rocks Vincent White with the right hand. White is in a lot of trouble.
He certainly is, because Jimmy Lange is a very good finisher, a two-handed puncher, and he's going to go right to him.
Shut off the gloves of Vincent White. One thing Lange has learned, I think, is patience.
Vincent White wasted a lot of years on the streets of Washington, D.C. after starting off 12-0, and you're seeing some of the effects of that.
Again, Jimmy Lange showing more patience than I think he's had. Good right hand by Jimmy Lange as round 2 comes to a close. Will Vincent White survive the second? I think he will.
Jimmy rocked him in that second round, wobbled White. I hope to see it here. Well, Jimmy following up along the ropes. That was near the end of the round. He just dominated that round.
Round 3 here in the Ballroom, brought to you by Toyota and by Geico Direct.
Neutral corner, neutral corner, neutral corner, neutral corner.
Gary Campaneschi is the referee, and they want to do some maintenance in the corner of Vincent White. Want to try to wipe up some of the ice and water left behind.
Sarge, get the water, please. Just hurry up. That's good enough. Let's go.
Round 3, the delay because of the water concerns in the corners of both fighters.
Well, White wanted to be the the matador to Jimmy Lange, the bull, but so far he's been gored in that second round. White had a good first round, even though we thought he lost a narrow round, but boy, that was all Jimmy Lange, and he's just unleashing that right hand.
One thing about Vincent White, he's been a junior middleweight his whole career. So any speculation that Jimmy Lange was taking an easy opponent here, Vincent White, 13-3, he is what he is. Started 12-0, and he's a natural junior middleweight. So I don't know what the critics want Jimmy Lange to do at 16-1. Do they want him to go in there against Felix Trinidad at this point in his career?
No, he's not ready for that, certainly. And he's only had 18 fights, so you do have to be careful with him. And certainly my comments in his last fight were not meant to be derogatory, just a statement of fact that if you have a good manager, you should have a fair amount of tomato cans on your record when you have only 18 fights. That doesn't mean he hasn't been in fights where he's learned and guys who have tested him at points in the fight, but this is where he should be. But I think he's got enough talent to pick it up a little bit, and I think we'll see him do that. You know, they're talking about him fighting on ESPN early this year, and I think they can showcase Jimmy Lange.
Vincent White survived round 2 and finding a little bit of a rhythm here in round 3. Jimmy Lange beginning to get back to that jab.
I see that left hand of Lange, when he wants to use it, is just dominating. You see him snapping White's head back.
It's a big jackhammer left.
And that's just the left hand. That's not even Jimmy deploying the right.
So you look at the abilities of Jimmy Lange, I think he has the natural punching power to really go a long way in this weight class.
Jimmy's using his jab better than I've seen him use it in a lot of fights. I think sometimes he knew, you know, the guy in front of him, he could take out with the right hand, and he just loaded up and hit him with the right hand. I think he realized he had to be on his P's and Q's here with White, and we're seeing more ability from Jimmy Lange. Just got hit with a right hand there, got a little bit careless.
Yeah, brought his left hand down, and he got tagged.
Yeah.
Little blood from the nose of Vincent White.
Vincent White trying to settle into a groove here, but Jimmy Lange won't let him with the left hand. As long as Jimmy keeps pumping that in White's face, you see Jimmy stop jabbing here a little bit. Now White's got a little braver and moved in with his own combination punches.
Third round coming to a close here in the ballroom. Another good round for Jimmy Lange. Round 4 is next. We'll be back. Back to the ballroom, Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Fourth round about to begin through 3. John Scheinman, how do you have this fight?
On my unofficial card, I've got Lange ahead 30-26. I gave him a 10-8 round for that dominant second round. But I'll tell you something, Larry. You noticed in this third round there, when Lange stopped using the jab, Vincent White immediately began to explore to see what he can do. Lange needs to stay on the attack.
Lange beginning to open up a little bit here in round 4, and Vincent White coolly slips away. Jimmy Lange certainly brings a lot of fans to the fights. That's the one thing when you have a Jimmy Lange fight, you know the crowd will be full with Jimmy Lange fanatics.
He is a ticket seller, and he would be popular on television.
He is popular on television.
Well, you know what I'm saying, network TV. Of course, network TV broadcasts of fights has fallen by the wayside, but certainly on cable, he would be popular too. He's got the name, the looks, the skill, as Don King would say, the complexion to make the connection. So he's kind of has the package thus far, and he's an excellent prospect.
And really controlling the tempo of this fight in every way possible. You wonder how long it will take, in all honesty, from this vantage point here at ringside. How long will it take for Jimmy Lange to take care of business with Vincent White?
Well,
Vincent White showing some signs of swelling around both eyes now.
even White hasn't fought regularly since 1999. 2 of his last 4 fights dating to 99 went the full 10 rounds. And 2 fights before that, he went 8. So
vicious body shot with the right hand by Lange.
But White's getting picked apart, really.
Left hook connects by White. Lange has been so focused on the jab, he really has neglected the body somewhat in the early going of this 8-rounder.
Jimmy looks sharp. Triple left hook there with a right hand. Starting to see the swelling more and more around White's eyelids.
Good head movement by Lange right there, defensively to stay away from White.
That was excellent. Jimmy realizing that White is a skilled fighter. May not have the biggest punch in the world, but again, it's the one you don't see. Jimmy, excellent head movement. Very impressive.
Nice little uppercut inside, catching White on the way back. Jimmy Lange, for the first time in this fight, loaded up with the right hand that time and missed. Vincent White and Jimmy Lange. Round 4 coming to a close. More ballroom boxing. The jab again connects by Lange. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment. This is ballroom boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno.
Wow, wicked body shot by Jimmy Lange as he pins White up along the ropes in round 4. We got him pitching a shutout.
I think so. Vincent White showing a lot of swelling around both eyes. Round 5 is underway. This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds tonight. Jimmy Lange and Vincent White. Nice uppercut by Jimmy Lange and a left hand to follow it. White's in a lot of trouble. The ropes holding him up right now. Lange letting loose. Uppercut by Lange. Left hook.
Jimmy also going to the body there, Larry, too. A good move.
Gary Kempeneshi, the referee, looking at it, and Vincent White holds on.
I don't even think that uppercut really fully landed, but it was enough of a shot to really hurt White.
Oh, another big right uppercut by Jimmy Lange, and there's a lot of blood. The towel coming in from the corner of Vincent White, and this fight is over. Another knockout victory for Jimmy Lange. Runs his record to 17-1-1. That is his 15th win by knockout, and a good stoppage by Gary Kempeneshi as Vincent White staggers to his corner. Jimmy Lange gets it done.
I don't know how you feel, but I think that's the best we've seen Jimmy Lange look in a fight. I think he really put together his entire package tonight, offensively and defensively, and sensational performance in stopping a veteran fighter.
Jimmy Lange showed a lot of patience, John. It seemed that he had outclassed Vincent White from the beginning, but he waited, he was patient, he waited for the opportunity, it came, and he took advantage and he closed the deal. So Jimmy Lange victorious again here in the ballroom, and the question has to be posed now, what is next for Jimmy Lange?
There you see the two-fisted attack. Finally, referee Kempeneshi showing some mercy for Vincent White. Really unable to defend himself effectively. There was no sense in taking further punishment. There's the winner, Jimmy Lange, out of Great Falls, Virginia.
Let's make it official with Pat O'Malley.
Attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at 55 seconds of round 5, Jimmy Lange.
So Jimmy Lange is victorious here tonight, running his record of 17-1-1, 15 wins via the knockout. Taking a look back at how this fight ended. Jimmy Lange with that right hand, scoring underneath, following with the left hand, and Vincent White was pretty much defenseless at that time. Covering up nicely, Vincent White. He's a professional, but Jimmy Lange concentrating on the job at hand. That's putting Vincent White away. Really right there, Vincent White is defenseless, just trying to defend himself against the onslaught of Jimmy Lange. Referee Gary Campaneschi was right on top of the action. A lot of those punches there were not landing. Vincent White holds on, but as soon as he let go, Jimmy Lange scored again. As we'll see, Jon Saraceno making his way into the ring to talk to the winner, Jimmy Lange. But here is how it ended. As Lange patiently measures, eyes, and fires. There's a good stoppage by referee Gary Campaneschi. It was clear that Jimmy Lange had just too much firepower for Vincent White. And that was the way it ended. See Vincent White there not really throwing punches, and Gary Campaneschi steps in the ring, standing by with the winner, Jimmy Lange. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing.
All right, congratulations to Jimmy Lange out of Great Falls, Virginia. Did you think it was going to be that easy? You made it look really easy.
They're never easy. They're never easy. It was a good fight. He was a tough guy. You know, I hit him with some good stuff in the beginning. He didn't go, so I decided just calm down, try to beat him up a little bit, and then he'd go, you know.
You have an excellent jab when you use it. Tonight, it looked like you were really bent upon consistently using a good, strong left hand. Was that part of your game plan?
Yeah, well, his best thing was his jab, so I wanted to out-jab him and just establish that a nice, strong, stiff jab, you know what I mean? That can really discourage people, bust him up, and his nose and mouth is bleeding, so I did what I wanted to do.
He came into the fight thinking that if he was cute enough defensively, you wouldn't be able to find him to hit him. But when you guys got together and started boxing, you really had the better of it, and I thought that was because you were able to put your punches together in bunches and hit him several times.
I'm a little better boxer than people give me credit for.
Does that include me? No, no, that's not true.
No, I'm a better boxer. I work with the best guys in the world. You know, there's all kinds of champions around here, good fighters, great trainers I have, and I'm not just a guy who goes in there and looks for a big shot and then folds if it doesn't come, you know, which today I didn't get with him a big shot early, so I decided to box him and show a little skill, you know, let him know that even though he eluded my power early, you know, he wasn't going to outbox me.
I mean, a lot of times with a young fighter, when you have a lot of knockouts early in a career, and you had a bunch of them, fighters tend to go right hand crazy and forget how they set up those knockouts. Is that something you've had to work with consciously at all to remind yourself to stick to your P's and Q's, your boxing style?
Like I said, I think that goes back to the gym and sparring. You know, you look at, I've had 14 knockouts in 16 fights, but I've really had about 1,000 fights when it comes to the gym. And so I'm used to getting in there and having to read and deal with guys.
What has Pepe Correa done for you in your career so far?
Everything. You know, he took me and took time and saw some promise. And, you know, he just teaches me, keeps reminding me every day, you know, to have confidence and to stick to what I'm good at. And, you know, he's a great teacher, great motivator. And, you know, I wouldn't have anybody else.
All right, the inevitable question. I think they're talking about having you fight on ESPN again early this year. Where do you want to go from here?
The inevitable answer. Talk to my handlers. That's all I can say about that. You know, I just fight, and that's about it.
Is a world ranking important to you right now to get in official contention for some kind of a title at some point within the next year, or is it just something that you're willing to be patient with?
Well, you always want to get a world ranking, but you want to get it the right way. You want to earn it so you can stay there. You can give me a world ranking right now. That doesn't mean I'm world ranked. You know, I'll have earned it.
All right, congratulations to Jimmy Lange. We're going to send it back to ringside and Larry Michael.
Another knockout for Jimmy, running his record to 17-1-1. 15th win by knockout. We wrap up this edition of Ballroom Boxing when we return. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Toyota, by Budweiser, by Michael's 8th Avenue, and by BallroomBoxing.com. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. A record-breaking crowd on hand tonight, and they did not go home disappointed as Jimmy Lange, a very impressive victory.
Well, Jimmy Lange continues to move up, and he's got to continue to fight better and better fighters. I think you'll see him do that. I think the ESPN show will give him greater exposure. I think people will jump on the bandwagon, and he's got a lot of talent and ability, and his future is really limitless at this point.
And he didn't punch you in the ring.
No, he didn't. I think we're back on good terms. I like Jimmy Lange, by the way.
Good job, buddy. All right, for Jon Saraceno and John Scheinman, I'm Larry Michael. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for Ballroom Boxing.